Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday, the last Friday of the month, and also the full moon. So it's a super exciting Friday, I think. And, today I really want to talk about the battles we choose. And I'm going to share a little bit around a story of mine that really was the straw on the camel's back for me to leave my corporate job and start my own thing. And I also, in context of, we've got Black History Month, we've got, Women's History Month coming up. And so I think it's especially important to decide like what battles we're going to fight, and to not get lazy, and to remember, we're in the middle of war for humanity, is really how I see it. And, I think it can be easy to forget how important this is for everybody to be paying attention to, for us to be fighting white supremacy and racism, and to be questioning our systems and structures and policies, and the way we treat each other. And I think if it's not in the news constantly, and if, it can be easy to just put that to the side as something that's not on our agenda or on our list of things to be working on and doing. But we can't, we just can't. And, and how we fight those battles, it looks different, for everybody. And, I just kind of encourage us this time to really think about what are you doing, to be the change, to have influence where you can have influence. And so I'll just start with, some of my why, like why did I leave corporate? And, there's 20 years of history there, right? 20 years of having wings be clipped at the same time of experiencing privilege, right? It's both. But I think, overwhelmingly, I felt like I never was truly supported, on the whole, right? When I think about the whole experience, like, did I ever really feel lifted in those environments? Which is really a shame, because when you're in these environments, like, it's the organization that benefits from your, from you being who you are, and from you showing your passion and you having conversations that move the needle on something, whether it's the business or whether it's the culture or what have you. So I was kind of coming into my truth and one of my roles around my passion, for helping women and for helping everybody really along their journey of figuring out how to live their best life, and, in particular, I was really starting to find my voice and feeling comfortable talking about the struggle for women in particular. And, seeing how frustrating it was, not just the patriarchy in general, which I believe impacts everybody, not, an identification. And I had gone to an event and was really inspired by it. And they had given out these postcards called "The Future is Female," that had that phrase on it. And, as this is part of the vernacular. This is part of the movement, part of the conversation, part of the, pushing back against suppression. And, and I happened to be on an all-female team at the time. And I was on a team with a lot of women of color. And I felt it was really important to show different ways of being, to show what it looks like to be standing in your power as a woman, and despite all of the things that we had to put up with in that environment, because it was a very male-dominated industry and a very male-dominated team with a lot of misogyny going on. And I decided to put that postcard in my office. And to be honest, I kind of hesitated. I was like, oh, what does this mean? What does it mean about me? What is it, because I also believe in inclusivity, and I believe in serving all, and I believe that everybody is impacted by these, toxic cultures and behaviors. But I decided to put it on my desk, on the corner of my desk in my office. And it was a few days later that I was asked to remove it. And that was a message that was sent from a senior male leader to my boss at the time, who was a female. And it just really made my blood boil, as you can imagine, for a number of reasons, right? Because, we can often be perpetrating the, the behaviors that are happening. And the victims become the ones that carry the messages on, all that good stuff, right? So it was just, I felt like so, I was being asked to put part of myself away, and certainly I felt that way before, but this was just, it was such an overwhelming feeling of you can't be who you are here, you can't bring all of yourself to the table here. You can't bring up conversations here. And I really think that planted the seed for me to say, this is, I knew, this was something I've always been really passionate about, that it being wrong, right? These kinds of active actions and behaviors. But I think it was in that moment I was like, you know what? Maybe I don't need to do this work on the inside. Maybe I need to leave in order to really do this work. Because I need to be able to be myself to do my work and live my best life. And, I didn't realize it at the time that it was such a big seed, but it really was. I was so hurt by it, frustrated, all that good stuff, that I actually, I texted my coach at the time, and who's still my coach, who I love dearly, Kelly Amadei. And, she just kind of supported me in that moment, because I didn't know what I wanted to do. But I knew I didn't want to do something that I regretted, and I decided in that moment, that was not the battle that I was going to fight, that it really didn't matter whether that postcard was up or down, that I was still having the conversations that I wanted to have. And I was still going to make the changes that I could where I was. And that I was fighting this battle on a whole bigger scene, right? Than in my office with this postcard. So I fought the fight, but it looked different. I did it in a different way. I did it by having conversations, by, encouraging my colleagues, my teammates, and a host of other different things. And it's not always the most visible things that make the longest impacting difference, And we have to remember that change takes time, right? It doesn't happen overnight, and there's no magic bullet. It's slowly but surely. We have conversations, we plant seeds with people, and we do our part. And actually, and I talked about this story kind of in a podcast interview I did with Voices, which is a File Voice Training podcast. I shared in that podcast that, 10 months later, that senior leader, who never had a direct conversation with me about this, ended up speaking with me directly and apologizing for his actions, because he had come to see what was going on. And, you know, it was this very validating moment for me. And I say that not because there was an admission of doing something wrong, but it was because I chose to continue the work in a different way. And I held space for what might be possible for change, even if in that moment I wasn't going to try to incite change by fighting, this opinion that I should remove my postcard. And I think that's the most important thing. I think it's really easy to lose hope in the journey of change and picking your battles. Because, when you think about, the journey of just this country and where we are, 400 years later, it can feel hopeless at times. How can we really have a revolution in how we treat people? But we can make a difference. And this small example, right, with this postcard story is, yes, you can make a difference. You can infiltrate people's hearts. You can encourage different behaviors. And I know that there's a lot of people doing this work within organizations, in your everyday lives, having conversations with families, and even in those moments where you feel like you're not making a difference, or you're so frustrated and like people are hard-headed and they're not listening and they're not open, that you can't stop doing the work. That we need you. We need everybody to do what they can, where they can, so that we don't need Black History Month. We don't need Women's History Month. We don't need Hispanic Heritage Month. Like, that we're just always honoring everybody all the time. And we're honoring everybody's history all the time. And we're bringing voices to the forefront all the time. And we're hearing people, and we're questioning the narratives that we're hearing. And we're looking at what's in it for people to act the way that they do. And how do we change those incentives so that behavior can change, Yeah, I mean, it's just, it's funny because I remember years ago, I think I was maybe a teenager, and I said to myself, I wish I was like born in the 60s. I'd have been on those front lines, fighting for equality. And I was really naive, right? Because it's like, holy shit, like I can do that work now, and it's still needed. It's not like, oh, everything is hunky dory, right? Like, so we just have to remember that even though we're not seeing riots every day, and we're not seeing fires, every day, and we're not hearing about atrocities every day. Atrocities are happening every day. People are put in boxes every day. People are being made to feel small every day. White supremacy is happening every day in every room in some way, shape, or form. You just kind of can't, it's just the truth, So yeah, my Feisty on Friday is to encourage you to continue to choose the battles, to not get lazy, to continue to do the work, to do the reading, to do the research, to watch movies that give you different perspectives, that give you other histories in this country that we don't learn in our school systems. And yeah, this is like a call and cry to action. And, for me, on my channel, if you've been paying attention, I don't do all this big, Black History Month social media stuff. And that's because I try to do that and honor those agendas and those conversations year round, not just in a month, and I encourage you to do the same. That, on March 1st, don't stop what you're doing to drive awareness, to drive change. It can't just be a month. It has to be 365. It has to be 24/7. So, yeah, keep doing the work, and stay lifted, and know that everything that you're doing makes a difference. It matters, even when you're not getting where you want to be in that moment, even when you're not getting sponsorship within your organization, even when funds are pulled. The battle, if it were easy, it'd be over, but you can't stop. We can't afford to stop. Black and brown lives can't afford us to stop doing the work, because people are still dying. People are still oppressed. People are still victims of white supremacy. So, put it on the top of your to-do list every day. And maybe in our lifetime, we'll be celebrating Black History Month every day, and sharing stories every day, and hearing more stories every day, and remembering we're all human. So yeah, that's what I got for you today. I hope this dropped a seed in your lap that grows. And thanks for listening. Again, I'm Tosca DiMatteo, founder of Tosca Coaching and Consulting. And you can find me at toscadimatteo.com for more information. Thanks so much, and ciao for now.